didn't do a countdown. You're just live. Boom.
Yeah, no counting. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Benefactor at Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm Simon, your DM for tonight, as we join Felicia, Nick, Kate, Corinne, and maybe later on Rodrigo with their adventures in Illyria. Don't forget, you can help or indeed hinder. Check out the options in the chat bar below. You can join our wonderful Discord and the large amount of shit posting that goes on there on a daily basis by joining our Discord. Check out the link in the channel notes, or you can support us like many of our wonderful viewers have done so by becoming a subscriber. So with no further ado, let's get back into our continuing story as we enter episode 129 of The Benefactor.
There's a white line.
And welcome back.
Okay.
And hello to our players.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Right.
we have new overlays, but they're a bit like I think I've made them work, but I need to do some more tweaking. Just FYI for people. Oh, also Felicia for some reason has got a lot of black below her. Let's move her around. There we go. Moving on.
Moving on. We sorted it.
So, when we left off last session, we had a bit of a tearful reunion for our resident warlock, Cora, revealing that she's still alive to her mother and her brother and two sisters. You were able to start looking a little more into what's going on with Ma, aka Lavinia Gatherall, Cora's mother, being distant from Cora all this time and having to survive as she has. She poured herself into the community, but always with a small grain of sorrow in her heart. And as she did so, well, according to her, life started paying her back. She started gaining these strange enchantment abilities by which, as she started making the clothes that she's been making for most of her life, some of them came out different, wonderful, small artifacts and miracles. Eventually, she was able to sell some of these at a premium. And now, instead of working in the shantytown on the side of Ostigals, just outside of the city walls, she now has Gatheralls, right in the heart of the city, prime commerce territory on the Emerald Road. You have found out a little bit more about this now. She did, in the middle of a meal, misty step up to her room when she was overcome by emotion. You have a feeling that she doesn't have a huge amount of control on the powers bestowed to her, and it's within reason to say that she's not going to be your average warlock. Certainly not a PC version of it, more of an NPC version. You then revealed to her, or as a result of getting that misty step out of her, you revealed to her that you had in the bank one day with her dead husband being brought back to life for 24 hours to spend some time with his family, Cora included. You decided to make the most of it and invite him to a picnic in the Feywild of all places, taking your family there so that they can meet your beloved Enola, who Lavinia was also very happy to hear is still alive, and, well, the in-laws, frankly. And that's where we're going to be starting off here. We're going to skip a little bit. Outside the city of Ostergard, with its high walls and proud naval and military history, there's the shanty town, or the Grant, as it was previously known, of Freetown. Originally given to mercenaries and veterans of various wars, a way of cashing in the money that they've earned by being able to have land to call their own. Just outside the city walls, they were able to enjoy all of the delights of the city whilst still being in land that literally belonged to them. That was generations ago. And now it's somewhat of a bit of a hive. And you have buildings built on buildings. Everybody kind of lives on top of each other, but with a certain community spirit and pride. There's an identity to Freetown. Freetowners are hard workers. They're often hard put on by. They have a minimum wage that you could expect around here or lower. They often have to turn to, well, quasi-legal, I love that word, activities in order for them to be able to live a life of somewhat comfort. Over the years, Ostergard has learned to rely on Freetown. The Freetowners work so hard and learn as many skills as they can that you can't hope for a better labor force in the city. And it's a labor force that you can pretty much just chew out every evening and close the doors behind you as they go into the garden like some dog going into a kennel. Freetown recently, with the siege of Ostergard, has become somewhat of a different animal. The Freetowners were the people who came in and saved the city. A huge cacophony of individuality confusing the hive mind of demons brought on by the architect. Lavinia was one such person who came in rolling pin in hand and bludgeoning demons to death with the local WI. There is one thing that has always been a grant to Freetown. Another backhanded gift by the fact that normally the Temple of the Raven Queen is outside of the city, or at least on the outskirts, because frankly, if the dead arise around the Raven Queen's temple, you've got the city walls between you and them. A large, proud, and somewhat neo-Gothic affair. The huge spires with scrolling and detailing point up into the sky, but you know that far below, at least 2 layers of catacombs interring the dead, and especially the problematic dead set to rise. It's a bright and sunny day. A nice brisk wind is coming in off the sea, off the coast of Ostergard, and any birds flying overhead would see a small party of figures walking up the steps of this temple. 4 of them, well, actually we'll say 5, just in case Rodrigo does manage to get here, are dressed as normal adventurers. You've been traveling in this kind of kit for a long time. Cora may be looking a little different, using her shift shroud to maybe put on her Sunday best, because that's certainly what all the others are doing. Lavinia Gatherall is wearing a beautiful dress. The halfling, as she strides up the stairs, is shining, literally shining. The small amount of silver brocade on her otherwise blue and white dress does actually emit a small glow. The 2 sisters, one of them trying to walk up a little haughtily and leading the others, trying to show herself to be, a big girl now. And another one walking a little more laboriously up the steps because, well, thanks to being in the first trimester of pregnancy, she is becoming a bigger girl now.
There is a very worried Farewell following her behind, going, "I can really get the carpet out. No, you don't have to walk. Honestly, I get the carpet. You can float there. It's really not a problem. I really don't think it's healthy for you to be
Stop
walking."
clucking over me, Farewell. I'm only in the first trimester. It's just who makes steps these big when you've got halflings in the city? I mean, the least they could do. I mean, they're really wide as well. You could do like some half steps in there, just like some squared off battens of what's the stuff, granite. And you could do that, and then you'd have halfling stairs, and you'd have regular size stairs. Then you'd be able to get gnomes and goblins if they were coming to the city to do this as well. I mean, any girl trying to cock her leg up over this size of step would have the same trouble. Cora, slow down.
She has a point, Farewell. I mean, even back home, we have stairs designed for dragons.
I'm uncomfortable with you two being in agreement on something quite so reasonable. But seriously, though, the carpet.
No, I can walk upstairs, even if they're stupid stairs. And up she goes. We cut to a beautiful, mellifluous sounding choir. The inside of the temple to the goddess of dying and fate is in fine form. The entire area is rippling with the sound. And you can see in front of you Dusk Elmhart in intense concentration as she's channeling the power of her goddess. She steps down and says, where the goddess' favor is so prevalent, there is little need for ceremony. She turns to a doorway, a simple doorway that has been set up in the middle of the vestibule. And she says, "Come, child, and know us." The doorway ripples, and stepping through in kind of, I guess, everyday clothes, but very, very clean, new, everyday clothes, almost like they've just been magically synthesized clothes, is Pa Gatherall. Well, this is a turn up for the books, isn't it? And he charges forward, his little legs almost a blur under him as he charges straight into his children. He looks up at Lavinia with a look of absolute devotion, tears welling in his eyes as he tries to grip all four of his children at the same time, with these two little arms. And yes, if you are anywhere nearby, Cora, you're pretty much just pulled in.
Yeah, no, I'm totally, like, what? Yeah, I mean, I think I was stood back a little because I'd at least seen him before, so it's not completely alien. But when he sort of heads for everyone else, I'm going in there. Dog pile, hobbit pile.
This lasts some time, as you would understand it to be, the breaking down of emotion and just that moment of coming back to the reality of the situation. And he gets up, wipes the tears from his eyes, adjusts his waistcoat over his stomach, and says, "I'm sorry I'm late, wife." At which point Lavinia goes to give him a playful slap across the face, and then just grips him with these giant muscular arms that have seen 1,000 washed floors and darned clothes and repaired bits of the house since even he had gone. She almost lifts him up with her strength and goes, "God, go, God Almighty!" And she whispers something that I guess the kids are close enough to hear, and says, "If I never let you go, she can't take you back." And he whispers back into her ear, "I don't think it works like that, pet." They step back, and Lavinia goes, "Talking about being tardy, we're wasting daylight, and it's good daylight today. And he turns around, walks smartly up to Farewell, puts his hand out and goes, "Thank you, son."
No problem.
A very kind of curt but sincere handshake. Looks you in the eye, which he has to crane his neck up to do, and steps back and says, "I hear this this day has all been planned already."
Yes.
Okay, well, let's get on with it. Plenty to do today. He, over the next few hours, ends up visiting old and new friends. People come flocking out when they hear that the gods have performed this miracle, that he's going to be back for the day. He ends up having a very brief chat with some of the old former colleagues and friends in one of the taverns. He meets old friends and neighbors, and has to very gently say, "No, I know, I can see. We get to see." And there's a lot of catching up and him giving a little bit of his sage halfling advice. And he says, "Well, it must be getting on. 24 hours, lots to do in a day." And getting it so that he shows the appreciation that he has for everybody. Bear in mind that the hello is also goodbye. They get through the day, and he gets to see a little bit of how the city has changed and things. I would say that at some point, Nick, would you have taken him up in the carpet to let him see the city from a different view?
Oh yeah, like they'd be full on, like, you know, come on, carpet rides.
I mean, that's the best way to see the whole the city and how it's changed.
Yeah, exactly. And then there'll be like Farewell 7 will sort of show you where that is, and Farewells 1 through 4. They're also available should you need anything. You know, you just ask, and they're quite happy to do. That's what they're there for.
Mostly, he has questions. He gets to see, and he does explain to you. He says, I don't know how much they tell the priests, but you don't see like you get to be here. There's ways a spirit can come and visit. It's complicated without being doing all the whole kind of thing. But you get to know, I guess. Yeah, it's like it's not like looking, it's like a memory. You start to remember things past your death. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Really, I'm a little worried about my own nature, that if you start telling me things, I'm not going to be able to forget them, and then I'll start looking into them. And the last time I started looking into something that somebody told me, it brought you back. Well, and whilst that's kind of working out okay, there is a giant karmic backlash that I think is somehow behind me like a rolling wave, and I'm just waiting for it to hit me in the ass. So I'm trying super hard to be on my best behavior.
Well, I mean, if it's going to happen anytime, it's probably when you finally get to take the Raven Queen out for drinks.
Right.
True, and you know there were the baked goods. That was also another one that was involved. IO. Man, I've got to. Why don't you stop me doing these things?
Like, normally we can't do. No, normally we can't because you were doing this completely by yourself.
And it's very amusing to see the outcome.
No.
Yeah, there's no stopping you. So, plus you just moan at us if you did.
He looks at you, smiling, and says, "Well, you know, karmic backlash or not, all of your hearts are in the right place, and where your hearts are in the right place, your souls will follow. You haven't been messing with any of those fiends or anything, and there's not the smell of taint upon you that will get them hunkering after you, pulling you down into the pit.
I bloody hope not, considering how hard we've worked over the last 6 months. Be very upset.
It's not about hard work, though, is it? It's about the condition of your soul. He turns to Gloria and says, "Even you, lass. I don't see anything on you that I should be worried about at the moment."
That's good.
Whereas that cousin of yours,
Yeah.
he's got some cleaning to do.
Yeah.
Some things don't come out.
Yeah. Well,
Something is memories.
what can I say? You reap what you sow.
Indeed. And let's just say he's sown a lot of things.
More ways than one. But I can't talk about that. What I can talk about is your current situation. And I have a feeling that's why you're going to take us to this fairyland? Fairyland thing?
The Feywild.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little different.
It sounds it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Be fine. She looks at Farewell and the others,
Well.
sort of thinking, "Will we fine?"
On the positive side, at least you get to meet your daughter's girlfriend and most like future wife.
We don't really.
Well, technically you're almost basically married, but I still insist to be the flower girl.
Right.
We will have a proper ceremony because Farewell wants to be the one to officially wed you. I know that.
You can see that Pargatherall kind of leans back. He kind of crosses his hands over his slightly rotund stomach and says, "I think that's for my daughter to start off, isn't it? But I'm glad that you're prepared."
Now we just need to figure out how we get there. It's like,
Awen
turn to
pops up
Awen.
into existence and says, "Well, that should be easy enough. All we need to do is find a Fador."
Right, but we have to go to what's it actually called? There's a place.
Sylvania.
Sylvania. Did we go there once before?
Yeah.
Sylvania's probably a good place, and we could probably teleport there. That should take some hours off the journey. And
Didn't last time we go
Yes.
there was some assholes though.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was.
yeah, Awen goes, "It's pretty much assholes all the way down." Actually, no, the wood elves are okay.
I just
But
remembered us. I nearly got into a duel.
Yeah,
Yes.
you got to remember Highborn assholes.
Right. Can we teleport there and then carpet past them all right through the gate? I can't.
Awen says, "Well, we could probably do a little better than that. I've been told there's a Fador only a few miles away. It's a very conditional one, but we should be able to use it."
From here?
Yeah, just about 4 miles, and she points that direction.
Right.
Well then,
Let's go.
onto the carpet.
Carpet
Yeah.
huddle.
So you get the carpet together. A bunch of terrified-looking halflings get onto the carpet. Par goes, "Oh, it's okay. I was on this earlier. It's actually really nice.
If you're not sure, just lie and grab the thing and just put your head over. You can watch that way, and you can't fall off very easily if you're lying down on your belly. So that's the
Always
easiest
get
thing.
Your Pegasus out, and they could have.
Oh, we do have other means of travel, and I
was gonna
I
suggest
expect they
that
were
I
already
fly
out.
to spare some space on the carpet.
Right, yeah, and I expect I've already done a show and tell. If this far through the day, we've already done a show and tell of the various creatures.
Yeah, I should imagine.
In fact, hold on, I haven't pulled up my character sheet, which is bad of me. But I'm pretty sure again, like, once we start loosening up, like, that bag of rust would have come out and 5 animals popped out of it.
Pop,
like,
yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. So let me see what you would have won. Let's see.
What's through door number 1?
Exactly.
But yes, we can have either Farewell or Eclipse like driving the carpet with your family, and then you on the Sunhawk and someone borrowing the Pegasus, and I can fly, so that way everyone should be able to go there together.
Yeah, I expect the guys are pretty terrified. If they're terrified of the carpet, which is probably more stable than a Sunhawk or a thing.
First of all, the Sunhawk will only allow you and one person to ride with it. That person, would probably need to be small. It could probably in a clutch take a medium person with you, probably in the claws.
So 3
the
charges.
Pegasus, on the other hand, could probably take like 3 medium humans and kind of laugh it off.
Okay.
So yeah, we have plenty of means to get there.
Okay.
Did I just roll the right thing? Bag it thing. Right, we have the rust one. We have a giant boar. That's cool. I don't know how we're getting that to the Farewell. Probably not. Probably leaving that somewhere. We have.
Ask it to be a good boy and guard your mom's house.
Yeah, it's just it's just running around. Basically, I told it to play with the kids of Freetown, so it's just it's having a ball.
Oh God.
Yeah. We have all these nice, easy to carry things. A brown bear.
Nice.
Nothing travel size.
Yeah, so someone maybe is riding on that, but that's probably not fast enough.
No.
And last but not least, we have roll number 4. We have a goat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
A goat, a boar, and a brown bear.
After explaining to the local Freetowners that even though that giant boar could probably feed them for a week, if you destroy it, it will just evaporate into, gold glitter.
I guarantee you that someone shoots it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The bear, on the other hand,
test that theory.
Nobody wants to fight because that bear could happily take out the average citizen. But the fact that it's friendly and that's the only time they've been able to go up and do it, you basically make a small petting zoo.
Yep.
For some reason, there's a load of drunk teenagers going on the cold hard ground for some random reason, and no one can quite figure out why.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And you head over to what seems to be it's kind of like a crossroads, and it is just a kind of country crossroads. It's like a main road, but then a dirt track that covers it, that crosses it. And Eowyn flits off your shoulder, still impressing your siblings that you've got your own fairy. And she kind of skips over it and goes, okay, normally it has to be done at midnight with a full moon, but I'm pretty sure that I can do something with that. Farewell, can you give me a blast of midnight, please?
A what?
A blast of midnight.
Time.
Last midnight, I'll be fine.
Time.
Not sure I'm supposed to do this. All right.
Just give me a split second from around midnight.
and like where there was like little air hostess Farewell just walking through, peanuts, serviettes, drinks. They all vanish because he can't keep concentration on that. Sort of just sits there. You watch that sort of as he's doing this, he can't help himself, but the knife just appears and floats in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then through that, you can see an image of the previous night. And you watch as the moon comes back into the sky. And as he reaches out and touches it, what the current sort of sky and night is shoots into the knife, and what was in the knife zooms around everybody else.
And as that energy goes out, you can see almost like a 4-year-old catching a properly thrown basketball. Eowyn in midair goes oof and catches what seems to be a mote of energy. At which point she goes, and she kind of slam dunks it into the floor, and it explodes, and this corona of silver light lights up the area. And she goes, okay, everybody inside. And
Right.
gestures you all inside. Okay, Cora, you could probably use the Sunhawk to help you. Pull us all through.
I do so.
It's however you describe it. And so is there anything that Cora would do? Because bear in mind, Fae just have power. How they express it is different from each Fae. So how would you kind of push this congregation through one reality into the next?
Oh, like a rainbow water slide style way, or Goonies water slide style way. Totally.
Nice. The ground shifts beneath you all.
We run the rainbow road.
Yeah. I mean, we're going into the Feywild. There's got to be a rainbow water slide. Come on.
Watch out for blue shells.
The world evaporates around you, almost as if that's the illusion, and what you're now going into is the reality. And yeah, there's a rushing sensation and a twisting of a spectrum around you, and it feels like you should be falling onto the floor, but as quickly as it happens, it ends, and you're stood in a lush field with the sun beating down on you, directly overhead. Sun. And in front of you, Cora, you can see in the distance, probably about 5 minutes walk away, is this gigantic, beautiful golden brick castle. Not kind of metallic golden, like a matte gold effect. And it has these huge burning statues, beautiful things, standing on each cornice. And you can see in the distance there are a pair of knights, what seems to be sparring rather than dueling. And yeah, there's very obviously, even from here, Fey folk about. You can see a little further down, there's quite clearly a bunch of Summer Eladrin just lounging about, eating and drinking, laughing about something, and the hazy, passionate, sometimes lazy and lulling, but other times over the top in its exuberant nature of the Summer Court is all around you. Eowyn gives a little bow and says, "Welcome to our realm."
Well then.
Like what you've done with the place.
It kind of does it to itself, but we like it.
I mean, it's not as sort of like watercolory and or stroby that I was worried about. It's actually very
Warm.
yes, yeah, absolutely warm.
Yeah,
I was.
what you just described is kind of the Dream Wilds. That place is kind of freaky.
Yeah, again, first time on this plane, so expectations are to be.
We're held together by a common narrative here.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't have to worry about the whole twisting, turning lanes or anything like that, unless you were to leave the kingdom, of course.
Right.
Well then, Cora, show us the way.
Okay. I will.
Good God says she gets us lost in the first minute.
Okay. Right, because I come here every night. I tell you, I know exact. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure
and
it's
you just appear exactly where you need to be.
And I can do this. We can just appear. I think it's just a walk would be
It's just
fun.
on our left. I know we've been walking for 15 minutes, but it should just be here. It's just on the left. Don't worry. Don't know why you're getting so
I start walking, and I'm like telepathically to Eowyn going, "Please tell me the way. Please make sure I know the way." Like
telepathically, she goes, "The fucking castle's right there.
Yeah, okay.
It's the big thing on the horizon. You can't miss it.
It's a 27-story castle that can only exist in the Feywild. That physically can't exist in real life.
Right.
Just walk.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's obviously right there anyway. Like I was just gonna do a little tour.
It's always daytime. The spires are on fire.
Wow, you're not helping. Which I think I'm saying that out loud. Like telepathically it all stopped and she just started going, really you're not gonna right, and we're so yeah, and I'm pointing out the various things. I think we'll like the I don't know if anyone, like any of the knights are all doing their training thing that they were doing once before and stuff, but like we'll probably walk through and give everyone the sort of tour.
You'll get close to the proving grounds. You'll be surrounded by Eladrin knights. But before that, you do go past a bunch of the summer Eladrin that are under the tree. And to a certain extent, you've met these people before, Cora. We've not been able to RP it, but feel free to have editorial rights on this. But leaping up to his feet and walking up to you in a kind of catwalk pose is a tall summer Eladrin, bright kind of gold blonde hair, a bright kind of terracotta eyes, angular features, a kind of olive tone that suggests that he's been out in the sun quite a lot. He's wearing these thin, elegant boots. He's wearing these really tight leather trousers that suggest that, you know, he can't sit down very quickly. And a kind of big, flouncy, almost pirate-like blouse.
So what you're saying is he looks like a tool.
It sounds like he looks like
a twink.
He's from Labyrinth.
Silence, twink.
Yeah, Labyrinth, twink. We've got all the right narrative points here. And he walks up, and you know this guy. This is Temerian. He's a bard. He's pretty much a card-carrying Summerite. He's all about passion and anger and things like that. And he is like the most temperamental. Ordinarily, I would say he's a bit of a screaming queen. He's either declaring his absolute love for someone, or he is he's having a screaming fit at someone, and threatening to defame them through song and story, typical kind of bard threats, because bards. And he's coming towards you, and he kind of catwalk sashaying towards you. And as much as say he's a little queenish and all the rest of it, he's the very typical Fae of no particular sexuality, roll a dice at any one time. And Scorn coming in on par. We will put that in at just the right point. Roll D6 and a D100, but I choose when it comes in. And he steps up with a plate of little delicacies. And he says, Sakura, here on another adventure, perhaps, no?
An adventure, but not so much for myself.
Guiding the next generation, perhaps. I mean, I've never seen these in our court before. Surely are they up to the task, though, Sakura? Are they? Do they have the passion, the drive, the joie de vivre to be able to survive here?
I look over the family. I look mostly over like the kids, and to sort of see how they're reacting.
My good sir, is that a challenge? I can assure you that we're quite up to the task. And Glory will be her very, very extra self, just to one-up him, to bring the attention away from Cora's family.
I've got something for this.
Anyway, it's a 4 and a 10, Simon, for the
yeah.
wild magic.
Yeah, I'll put it in at just the right point.
Hold on. I've got something for this. I cast Eagle Splendor on Glory.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
So as these giant wings mantle over her and she strikes a pose, lifting up into the air in a way that only a very unaerodynamic dragon can do, you feel this boost, this divine boost from Farewell, and suddenly, you are looking pretty fucking special. He does the whole kind of heels to hair implants, check you out, and he goes, I think she'll make the grade. But what of the rest of you? And he looks at the juxtaposition to the fabulous dragon tiefling down to Alton Gatherall in his what is only, basic Sunday best, with his arms kind of looking at this guy as if to say, I've got your number, kid, kind of thing. He's not taking any bullshit at all. The kids, on the other hand, are slightly more taken by this. So Bree and Milo think everything here is amazing. Trim is she's got enough age on her now, at the age of 22, to kind of go, and then look at her mother, Lavinia, her father, Alton, and then kind of go, and her eyes are wide, but her body language is forcibly kept neutral.
At the very wise age of 22.
At the very wise age of 22. Got the world sorted out at 22. 22-year-old should run the world. He steps forward, and with a bow and a balance and a grace that would find everybody else falling arse over teakettle, he comes down very low, halfling low, and presents this beautiful platter of wildly coloured sweetmeats and small desserts and things like that before the group. Cora, you know that this guy eats food that is the equivalent of LSD.
I want
This is
to. So when he's
emotional
bending
LSD.
down, I want to use my invisible mage hand to slap him on the butt.
Yes.
I need to make a roll.
Do I make a stealth roll?
Well, if you want to roll against him, I will.
Sleight of hand.
I will
Just like
allow.
a hand, just like a
I
hand
would
with
say
two.
sleight of hand.
But I get to roll with triple advantage, so I'm cool. with it.
Triple advantage. Oh yes, because of like perception and like this is like a special perception thing they get.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not perception. This is. You can get a thing as an elf, where when you take advantage, you can have another dice.
Yes.
And this guy has advantage on all balance checks and anything that will disrupt his graceful demeanor.
Okay, so am I rolling sleight of hand or stealth stone?
Well, I just did 11, 18, and 20, so good luck with this. I would say that you would need to do it as a dex-based attack.
Next-based
Guidance.
attack.
You don't know she's doing it. Don't apply guidance.
Ah.
Guidance can only be done on perceived actions. Or preempted perceived actions.
29.
29. You still don't beat him.
Does he have a plus 10?
He has a plus 14. So
Anyway, I slap him on the butt.
you slap him on the butt, and to be fair, this guy tenses up like an iron rod, and he mutters under his breath, "Naughty." Still offers this wildly colourful neon colours vomited on a plate things. But Kate, that Cora, that these treats have basically like LSD levels of emotion in them.
Oh, don't
Probably bad.
Nobody
I don't
else
know
knows
about
this.
fake
Only
culture,
Kate.
but at
Only
least
Cora
back
knows.
home it's quite rude to give food to someone else's guest before they even have a chance to dine with you. Especially considering we're here to see the king.
He looks at you and says, "Well, the culture around here is pluck it while it's hot."
Do I?
I'm sorry, did you say fuck it whilst it's hot?
Pluck it, man, pluck it. And then
I'm
he
really
sidles,
sorry,
and then he sidles up to you and says,
I-
"But both are applicable."
I mean, I just wanted to be sure because, you know, I don't necessarily want to eat something you fucked.
Well, your loss. But don't worry, that's not a
I'm
threat.
sure I can live.
Okay, moving on.
What?
Also,
He's got
you just brought Discord up.
I know. Sorry. I was trying to change because the Twitch chat is doing a weird thing. And I'm trying to get a better one, but I didn't have it on studio mode, so whoopsie.
Whoopsie! It's
fine.
I mean, it's not my fault. I mean, the accent's outrageous. I'm not very good
Okay.
with accents.
Okay. Anyway, let's not eat the. Well, do I know that this food is drugged up? Okay, I eat whatever is fish-like.
Okay, there will be something that looks akin to sushi. Roll me a d8.
I'm having lots of fun. D8, D8. Where is D8? There's D8. Roll. 8.
Okay. Cora, I will give you one opportunity to intercept the cat. Granted, it will have to be a roll-off against the rogue, so you will probably fail, but I will give you a chance to intercept the cat as she goes and takes her paw goes out towards what is an amorous treat.
Okay, so hold on, I got this Twitch thing over your face. All right, go away.
What is it that really dramatic music?
So, I mean, like, my sleight of hand isn't too bad. Can I use that?
Yeah. So let's have a sleight of hand off between you two
Wait, should I have a sleight of hand?
against the rogue.
You're very fucked. Unless you can do.
Or can I do whole
magic.
person? But no. Well,
I would cast whole person.
Whole person is probably your best bet.
Probably better.
So wait, who am I holding person on? I'm holding person on
Eclipse.
Eclipse,
You
I
have to be
think.
Eclipse. The other guy is rigid as a rod, as Eclipse found out when she smacked his ass.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, no, I'm holding person. Spells.
What save?
Oh boy. Not hold monster. I do have that now.
I
Right.
mean, Eclipse is pretty aggressive, but I don't think she counts as a monster yet.
Oh, yeah.
Only when there's tuna.
Okay. Well, you gotta. Do I have to roll? I haven't done this
No,
in
I have
forever.
to
You
roll.
have
It's
to
a
roll a
wisdom
wisdom save.
Yeah, Corinne, roll a wisdom save with disadvantage.
First was a natural 20. Second one was an 8. Was a total of 9.
Okay. Yeah. She is millimeters away from taking this amorous treat, which would have basically turned her libido up to 11.
We do not need a hypercat. We have a hypercat most of the
It's not a
time.
horny tabaxi. I don't think I could go. And you focus all of your fey power, not realizing until the last second that you're like, hang on, I'm on my home turf. Whap! And she is like a living statue.
You don't need catnip right now, okay? We got things to do. Maybe at the end of the day. Probably not even at the end of the day. You stop trying to give my friends things that are gonna turn them even loopier. This place is weird enough. Right. Can someone just pick her up and carry her for the rest of the way? We'll at least far enough away from him.
I look at Farrell.
We're just like
He's
I've
the
got
only one with a
clips, like-
strength score, okay?
I've got clips over my shoulder.
Once
like,
we're-
just one eye.
I'm still like, I'm bridging us along, so I'm just.
I get it. She's planking, the best planking ever. Once we're like, further
Think
enough
of your
away that I
core
think
strength,
she'll be able
Eclipse.
to
Think
resist,
of your core strength.
I will release it or let it
Yeah.
let it drop. Be like,
As Glory passes, he pulls one of the treats off the plate and puts it in a tiny handkerchief, proffers it to you and says, "For later."
Of course.
So when does the white magic happen, Simon?
As he walks away, I wanted to give this guy his just desserts as he was walking off. As he walks away, letting you carry on, it's actually Farewell who feels the wild magic surge. Maybe it's a moment of it's a moment of innate disapproval of the bard, and you kind of feel a small mote of magic flash from your body, and suddenly, out of the ground, this undead hand grabs hold of the bard's leg. He shrieks, throwing the platter up into the air, throwing the sweets over a wide area, and looks down to see this, rotted fucking hand gripping onto his
I didn't
ankle.
do that.
Continue walking, we saw nothing.
He starts screaming and batting at it with his hands. And as he falls on the floor, another skeletal arm goes over his neck.
Oh no, sorry. And I run back over and I channel divinity and I cast Turn Undead, which is also Destroy Undead.
Yeah.
So anything.
Yeah. This is basic bitch zombie and basic bitch.
Obliterate.
So with your bare hands, you just go bang and vaporize the arm as it comes out of the thing. And yes, that came from the Necromantic Wild Magic table. Number 10
dear.
is you cast Dance Macabre around you.
Oh no.
Which, if there were dead bodies around, man, that would have been fun. But it says if there are no dead bodies around, one zombie and one skeleton appear. So
Wait, I was the zombie. Where's Skelly?
the skeleton was around the neck.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay.
So the zombie grabbed his ankle and the skeleton grabbed his neck. He looks at you, not knowing whether to kind of blame you for this. He knows you're Raven Queen. He's kind of like, was this you? Did you do this? And you can see he's in between relieved and angry.
Undead, we don't make them.
He's just looking at you, and he's torn between queening out and kissing you, and instead is just looking at you gimlet-eyed instead of just.
Yeah. I would recommend you probably should, at least for the next 24 hours, not touch the floor. Have fun with that. And I just walk off.
He gets up, and as you walk away, you can hear that a couple of the Summer Eladrin maidens who are still just laying reclined underneath this tree, very much kind of Belfarmer clothing. Some of them did laugh, and he ends up screaming at them. How dare they laugh at him? And they, of course, start screaming back. And in the end, you leave basically a big Eladrin cat fight behind you. Eclipse. A minute passes, and suddenly you dissolve in Farewell's arms, and suddenly Floppy Cat is back.
that was for your own good. Sorry, but
I
we're
wanted food.
yeah. We I'm sure we can get food. Just what he was gonna offer you was something that would not be so much food as drugs, which
I
are
thought it was
good. I mean, but it's yeah.
I thought it was food.
Yeah, just in a way, food. They kind of eat it like food here,
But
but
you're still hungry anyway.
There was fish.
yeah. Okay.
Do you have intestinal parasites? Do I need to test
She's
you?
becoming
No.
halfling.
No.
Yeah.
Too much exposure to Cora. She's
Yeah.
has
The rest of the halfling family was like, "Well, we were about to tuck in. What are you on about?"
You know what?
Biologically acceptable for halflings. This has been well
Surprisingly,
documented.
Cora still has.
It was just a treat. It was a tiny little nibble of fish. I would.
Cora still has a half a bag of meatballs from Naruka in her pocket, which she's secretly been nibbling along the way, and she hands the bag over.
The grease has gone through the wax paper.
Yeah,
at this
very much
point.
so. Yeah,
the wax paper is pretty much see through.
Yeah. Hands it to Eclipse and be like, there. See, I mean, we're halflings. We always have food on us.
At which point there's some nods around the place. Dutifully,
Everyone else is like,
start, pulling things out of their pockets. You can see that Milo's food you would not eat in your direst moments. Don't know what he's put in there, like mud or sticks or grease or whatever. But the food that he picks out is only identifiable as food by its shape. Certainly not by its color and the fluff that's attached to it. Trim pulls out a neat little lunchbox, effectively, because hey, even in the first trimester, you're still needing to snack a lot. Lavinia, kind of pats certain parts of her dress that turns out not to be padding, but she kind of goes halfling to mothers. Kind of with a nodding thing, and Alton pulls out. He must have acquired at some point. He pulls out a sturdy jerky from his trouser pocket, wrapped up again in wax paper, and he goes, "Well, what can I say? I work on energy." And as this bounty comes out their pockets as they display, halflings always have food. Eowyn goes, "I really want to study your digestive system. Does it turn into pure energy when it goes in there or something?" I mean,
well, magic does consume a lot of calories.
And she shakes her head and flutters on ahead of you. As you start going through the proving grounds, knights salute Cora, especially seeing that quite obviously Cora is here with her family. They make a more ostentatious display than usual. Knights on horseback rear the horse up. The horse whinnies. The hooves start to pour through the air. As it does so, the horseshoes on the horse's hooves glow with heat, and suddenly the mane goes fucking ponytail. He pulls a sword. The sword starts to flame as well. The armor turns to gold, and then they charge off, starting to race around the fields. Knights who aren't on horseback rip off beautiful courtly boughs in this thin plate armor made of mithril and blended with other such metals like the good orichalcum. Others pull out their swords, raise them high as you pass. Others bring the swords right in front of their face in a very formal salute. Ordinarily, when you've been in these proving grounds, Cora, there's been a lot of posturing, a lot of pomp and competition. But this is, for all intents and purposes, a parade. You are coming in with your family, and this is something the knights understand. They want to show the family who you are. And as you pass, each one of them gives suitable knightly respect, even those that you've argued with for years. And I can say years because time moves differently in the Feywild. Eventually, you get up to the ornamental gardens that lead up to the palace, and you can see that the family is just completely overwhelmed. They had little gasps and pointing at things and talking in hushed tones to each other as they've been going through this. By the time they get to the gardens and the beautiful heady scents of pollen, just this beautiful kind of haze all around you that reminds you of comfort and of playing around in the sun and needing to jump into the lake every now and again to cool down. This fantastic floral scent that just erupts from the flower beds. They settle into more of an awestruck march towards the castle, almost overloaded with the senses around them. The sun beating down on the back of their neck. And bear in mind, it's kind of, I guess, the equivalent of October right now in Ostergold. It's a welcome change. Even the clothes that they've come in with, very mundane clothes, under the bright sunlight, not a cloud in the sky, apart from a few dotted about, almost as if they were placed in a children's book. The clothes seem to radiate, and here, Lavinia's collar with the bright silver shines all the more, very unworldly or otherworldly as she walks in. The two giant doors, parade doors into the castle. There's a bunch of other ways to get in, but you choose the front door. As they open, there's a huge fanfare, and you can see the courtiers come in and give polite applause, curt bows and things as you all enter. For the rest of the party, this must be very alien as well, being applauded as they come in. But this is an achievement to the Fae. These people have managed to make it into the Feywild and into the court. They're being led. They're clearly not trespassers. They're being led by two members of the court. Remember, Eowyn is a court member in her own right. And you step into these giant vaulted halls. There are lords and ladies everywhere. And there's gossip that stops, and quite openly, no talking behind people's back in this court, you hear people turn around and say, are they from Mundus? Cora's brought people from Mundus. Why, hello there. Hello, I say, hello there. And they're waving and very open. You notice that nobody steps back. Everyone steps forward or stays where they are and gives a smile. Some people who might be a little less approving of you will look down their nose at you or look at you challengingly. People who don't know what to make of you will kind of size you up as you come along, but they wear their emotions on their face. You eventually end up in the antechamber to the throne room, and quite a large kind of Fey version of a Goliath. You've only seen one or two of them in your time here, but one of them is usually outside the throne room. No one's ever told you his race, and you've never really had the occasion to ask. Steps up and he goes, Sakura, I've been told that you already have time with His Grace. I believe that time is now.
Yes.
Very well.
I have guests, as you can see.
Of course. Please, everyone, welcome. Welcome to our realm. You'll be surrounded only by friends here, but have in mind that there is no such thing as deception here. If you have issue with someone, they will ask for satisfaction, or they will ask for a genuine apology. If your apology is not going to be genuine, I suggest that you just tell them what you can that is truthful. Otherwise, well, things can get very hot around here, very eventful. For the most part, be pleasant. People will be pleasant to you. But don't lie about it.
Please don't start fights.
Well, we do love our fights.
Yeah, I know, but we have limited time and thing. We'll come back another time and have fights, good ones. Anyway. I
enjoy sparring you with you again, Sakura.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I will just announce you and your retinue. He pulls out a staff with a big ball of granite on the end, slams on the door. Boof, boof, boof. Recognize Sakura and her retinue. Holds the staff high, and the two large doors open. If the opulence of the previous chambers wasn't enough, now gold covered over every surface, if not marble, beautiful, shining out of the floors and sconces in the walls, is all around you. The people here are dressed even more lavish and even more daring A lot of the clothing is incredibly impractical. The clothing here is just to somehow garnish the body rather than to be any form of barrier to modesty or the elements. As you step in, this is quite possibly the most otherworldly place that you, the rest of you, have been in. You can see, any of you who have any modesty would be almost blushing to see as certain ladies curtsy in front of you, and suddenly this wave of emotion comes over you. The slightest smile from a lesser but true Fae of Summer. The smile suddenly makes your knees turn to jelly as they size you up and down. And like what they see.
Tara's brother is 15. He is bright
Oblivious.
red. No, he's 15.
Yeah. 15, he's in the middle of, oh God, yeah.
He is probably, not safe for work. He's probably like hands are over his pants, trying not to like show that he's probably got a huge boner right now. Come on, he's 15.
I would say it's probably lost on Brie at 12. She's got, she's probably looking at the dresses and the pomp and the majesty, and she's taken in by that. But yeah, I would say,
I think Milo at 15 is probably a bit like.
Yeah, I didn't pack calm emotions, so you're
Yeah.
on your own.
Yeah. Oh really? Oh wait, do I have that?
I took enhanceability
have
because I
it.
thought that would be useful. I forgot to take calm emotions for taking a raging 15-year-old into booby central.
Yeah. Hormonal overload. I would say that Milo is transfixed by a woman who's basically wearing 2 handkerchiefs and a doily, and you can see as a very firm and calloused hand appears on the back of his neck, turning his head to anywhere other than this one woman.
I think I have the only thing I have that would be any use whatsoever is minor illusion.
No.
This is for your own good. Blindness.
I'm not sure. Not sure how it would help.
Permanent.
Let's just leave it. Let's leave it.
It's
I'm
fine.
pretty sure blindness is permanent when you cast that on somebody.
Yeah, but you've got remove curse. It's fine.
It's fine. He's probably like half. Yeah. He's in his element right now. I'm sure.
Cora, you are completely immune, obviously, but the rest of you are not.
No, Glory is in heaven.
Oh, Glory is in heaven, I'm sure. Yeah.
Glory
Do we some sort of charisma saving throw?
Glory is getting the body language version of telepathic number giving from
Here are my digits.
from these things, as several of the true Fae in this room who are, they are exuding emotion like an aura. Take one look at Glory and go, yes, kind of thing. And and Glory, you're
very
soaking
strange
this up.
color of like brown, as he's kind of blushing. So it's like he's trying to be like really sort of like grown up and like on ceremony, but he has eyes.
Yeah,
Doesn't know where to look.
It's
And
everywhere.
you could just see that like his neck's kind of brown, and then it goes kind of greeny, then it gets a bit brown again, and it's sort of like.
So
it's
when
all-
you say brown, do you mean purple?
Well, no, because he's green.
He's
Yeah.
blue power.
He's green.
Yeah, but if he is green and he's blushing, wouldn't it go closer to purple than it would to yellow?
Doesn't red and green make brownie?
I suppose
Red and blue
yeah.
does purple.
Purple would be blue.
brownie, orangey maybe.
It's purple. It's probably a brownie,
But-
slightly slight tint of purple because of the
I
slight
think it'd be more
blue.
purple. Also, you're forgetting the fact that he's actually turquoise blue.
Yeah.
Purple.
Yeah,
I mean,
All
to
know
be
that
fair,
turquoise does not exist. It's a conspiracy.
To be fair, it's Nick's character, and
Yeah.
if he says it's green, it's goddamn green. So like,
I'll have you know, it's technically seafoam green. Green is in the name.
Yeah.
It will be there for you.
I'm gonna-
It's like, I know what it is. I know the hex code. Shut the fuck up.
Phone green
is
is just a
formally-
light turquoise.
It is formally in the green family. There is no such thing as turquoise.
It's a made up thing.
I will smash the turquoise conspiracy. It is a fake cover. It's fake news.
Fake news of a color.
Yeah.
I would love to hear a conversation between you and Mandy regarding color.
I quite like the idea that him blushing is sort of a little a yellowy kind of like tint or something coming out, but I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, that
I
cool.
imagine it'll be, you know what, to be fair, it's probably like spectrums of colour because it'll be patchy.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so it's like, and because it'll blend, so there are like all sorts of weird, sort of strange
changing colours, like-
appearing on his like neck and face. And he's like, the worst thing is like Farewell's really aware of it because, you know, he knows what happens.
Lavinia does put her hand on your hip, which is the halfling equivalent of putting it on your shoulder, and says, "You're getting brackish, dear."
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to warn you about this plate. I'm so used to it now. I didn't think.
I could get used to this.
You
Oh wait, I have
would be dangerous here.
prestidigitation. I just press my finger to my head, cast prestidigitation, and turn myself back into my normal colour when I realise it's happening. I'm just like, oh yeah, good point. Thank you. I've got an hour like this. I'm fine.
Lavinia, who's keeping her cool. I mean, this is an indomitable mother here. Kind of just gives a little bit of a smile in Farewell's direction, and she turns to Alton and kind of rolls her eyes, and she said, "Honestly, you've been with me only for less than half a day, and now look at what you're doing, bring me to places of ill repute." And he goes, "Your daughter brought you here. I had nothing to do with this." You can see that, you know, they're both looking very respectable. Alton, at least, is, you know, again, he's, you know, age has managed to temper his emotions somewhat. And even though every now and again you do see an eyebrow raise, that's about all you get from him, is just the whole kind of thing when somebody kind of, you know, ends up kind of shooting him a look. Sitting very bisexually on the throne.
Because you can sit aggressively bisexual.
Oh, yes, you can. Yeah, very much so. Yes.
You can sit bisexually, okay.
Please watch The Labyrinth if you don't know what we're talking about.
I was actually thinking that as well, actually.
Yeah.
What immediately jumped into my head was David Bowie is sat on that throne, and I was just thinking,
Yep.
Yeah.
If you ever need a training video on how to sit aggressively bisexual, please watch The Labyrinth. So yeah, and as much as I tried to design the Summer King in a number of different ways, it always ends up as David Bowie on the throne, walking as you're going up, and he's kind of looking wistfully at you as you're walking up. He's in casual courtier gear, which again is almost kind of like a little bit piratish. It's, you know, it's kind of South Seas kind of style. Bear in mind how fucking warm it is here, even though this guy is like the personification of the emotional fire. And he smiles as he sees the various reactions of people walking through his court, and sat in one of the chairs next to his throne, smaller but kind of throne-like chair, grinning all over her face at this, you know, showing all of her pleasure and her happiness. Next to him is Enola. He leaps out of the throne, almost dancing Fred Astaire style, down the stairs towards the approaching throne. He throws his arms open and says, please, honored guests, you are family here today. These hallowed halls that have stood for thousands of years and more are your home, and I just another family member. Please join us. I can see that this event that, unfortunately, I am to say, is an everyday occurrence here, is slightly overwhelming for you all. Maybe we could retire to the garden, and there's an audible "aww" from the throng around you. No. Maybe if they come back of their own volition in future. But not today. Today is about family. Today is about the hearth that the family gathers around. And there's a few people, there's a few Fae who are nodding and agreeing. That's what today is about. Go, you passionate bastards. Spread into my realm and do what you will. And he dismisses the court. You can see that you can hear there's a susurrus of talking, not under the breath, not this kind of gentle, courtly, low voices, but a slightly louder susurrus of people speaking out loud. You do hear one of the lords and ladies turn around and saying, "I'm pretty sure we caught her eye, darling. We can follow that up later." Sure enough, this huge hall becomes empty within minutes. He drops his arms by the side and goes, "You know what? Sometimes even I find it exhausting." And I'm the one who makes them that way. Enola steps down and nods to the king. Father. He nods his assent as she steps in front of him, which, to step in front of a king, you make sure that he says okay first. Comes forward and shrinking in size as she gets closer to Cora. She ends up Cora's height and embraces her. And after embracing Cora, starts embracing the rest of the family. And basically with a very polite, "Thank you so much for coming." She's the one person who seems to be showing true courtly behavior, kind of mortal courtly behavior. Her half human, half mortal, side showing out.
I think when she's gone round the family that she knows, in a sense, I will bring her over to Dad and be like, "You never did meet him, but now you get to, at least for today. Enola, this is my dad."
She rips off a very Fey grace bow to start with, and then coming up from the bow gives this really warm and mischievous smile and goes up and gives him this huge hug. I mean, she already hugged Lavinia. She knew Lavinia. And so there was a big, almost kind of like, "Hello, Mum" kind of hug for Lavinia. But then she gives Elton this very impassioned, gripping hug and says, "You're welcome, sir. And it saddens me that I won't have the time to get to know you as much as I would want to." And he goes, "All time for that, lass. All time for that." At that point, Enola shoots a look at Cora as if to go, "What?" and steps back. The Summer King at this point, watching all of this happen, has not collapsed, but kind of dumped himself childlike on the floor. He's kind of got half cross-legged, half leaning on the floor, and says, "A day off. I declare it. I said I would make the time for you, and I will. I have a feeling that we're going to have to talk about some business now that I have your compatriots here. But let's be lazy for a while, shall we?" He leaps to his feet, this jack-in-a-box motion, and says, "To the garden." The doors open, and again, this beautiful, thick summer air full of pollen and scent washes over you, and he leads you into the garden. And with that, we're going to take 10 minutes break.
Nice.
Okay. Oh shoot. I don't know. I didn't I didn't get prepped with the break. I mean, I am prepped with it. It was the old one. Sorry, Felicia. I will get the new one sorted. Right. Okay, right.
Oh,
We'll take
wow.
a break.
See you soon.
Okay, we're in the break. Oh no, wait, I muted the wrong thing.
And we are back. Hello, everyone. And when we left off, the Summer King was taking the whole party into the beautiful rolling gardens of the Summer Palace to talk. The day seems to roll on forever and ever. Time seems to slow and still. Conversation goes back and forth between, oh, hey, Barbara, haven't seen you in ages.
Holy
Hello.
maloli.
Oh,
Oh
hello.
my God.
How are you?
Time seems to slow and still as the conversation flicks tangentially between the Summer King and Enola, explaining the Feywild or the Summer Realms itself, then switching over to completely mundane affairs as Alton starts to give anecdotes of being in the mine. And rather than it being boring to the Summer King, he's fascinated. The mundanity of the situations that Alton describes seems to be as interesting to him as the colourful surroundings that interest you. It bats back and forward between a number of different things. The Summer King asks about stories a lot. Stories of your family, and sometimes almost has a bit of a childlike way of asking. So what happened the New Year's before that? It's fascinating. And the New Year's before that? And he would just be asking for these details, almost like he's feeling out what a mortal family life is like. He points out that he can usually see the mortal world through Cora, part of the bond that he has with her. There's a bit of a wrinkling of Lavinia's nose as he reveals this, and he says that my knight represents me in the way that I would expect in Mundus. She is in a great many ways an ambassador for our kingdom. And at the word ambassador, Lavinia kind of softens the disapproval a little. Not 100%, but enough. And she seems to approve of it when he turns around and says, I think most of the understanding I have in the mundane world right now is down to her. Well, and you all now. But I think that we have jabbered on long enough. Our family member here and our grateful friends are going to be going up against quite the danger soon.
Oh,
Oh, we have a Rodrigo. Hello.
we may have a Rodrigo. Give it a moment while we're sorting out Zoom.
Hello, my dude.
You alive?
Mend it, and I just need to get rid of your picture, but you're good. Beep.
There we go.
There he is.
There we go.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hello.
You're alive.
We are currently in the ornamental grounds of the Summer Palace in the Feywild with Cora's family.
Cool.
We have
I can't do
physically
much here.
gone to the Feywild.
You also probably were like really, there was some stuff going
You
on.
missed
You
Corinne
might feel
almost
horny right now.
being
Yeah.
drugged.
You might feel horny.
Depends how turned on you are by naked ladies. Potential.
Scantily clad.
Yeah.
Cool.
Scantily clad.
Guess
Like
from the
Fey
context.
ladies hasn't turned up to 11.
Yeah.
From the context, I am just going to mute myself and slowly blend into the background. See everybody.
That is probably what Aiden did
Yeah,
while
generally.
Glory was winking at Feyfolk. And
Thankfully, the Fey folk have gone now. You're just with the Summer King and Enola.
Oh, cool, great.
The Summer King says, our good friends here and our family member Cora are going to be going up against quite the danger. When summoned, I and my knights will join her. But I have a feeling that the greatest danger will be placed by her alone. We have studied the rift that was closed in Ostigard, and now it is still a scar between this world and the domain that this architect creature has been imprisoned in. Much of what I've learnt through my knight is correct. He is a tool, a construct, a motive divinity used for the creation, the physical creation of matter within this plane, where these realms were created at first by Corellan, and then after that, the consciousness and emotional state of all life. He seems to be the bricky, I suppose. Somewhat of a jumped up god. Believing that because he, put down some paving slabs and slapped some paint on the walls, that he somehow made the whole of existence, as if the material is all that there is. No. There's far more to it than that. Inspiration, perception, the flow of magic, emotion, time. He looks at Farewell, gives a little wry smile. All of that was beyond him.
Didn't do it.
He is responsible of only one part of this existence. Indeed, he did not make certain realms. He did not make the Fey realm. Twisting and changing as it is day by day. He wouldn't know what to do here, which I believe gives us a singular advantage. He does not know this place. He does not perceive it, and I don't believe he can change it. Although he may prove me wrong there. Either way, I don't think he knows how to get here. It wasn't part of his original design. It's a secret passage, a secret room in a house he otherwise built. Maybe we can use that somehow to our advantage. At the least, if we can get you the ability to maybe step in and out of my realm in a way that's not going to addle your mind, that's something that we could do to help. Miss Tezcatlipoca, you know the blink spell?
Yes, of course.
Something similar to that.
Yes, being able to transport her, physical form between planes would give Cora quite the advantage of not being caused any damage in the upcoming fight, while maybe if you were able to, similar to the blink spell, be perceived the material plane.
Soon as you mention Nadia Knight, there's one extra advantage that I think that Cora will have over the others. That is the nature of your body. You have changed. Ever since the day where I took you as my ward, you have started suffusing your being with my power. You're able to change your appearance, and sometimes even your physical form. You're able to switch from a living, breathing, mortal form, even to short periods of time as a being of living fire. I think with his matter manipulation, he's going to find you somewhat more of a moving target.
That's true. I mean, he learns quite quickly. But, if we can keep him guessing or stay one step ahead of him as much as possible.
He's aware of magic and how magic works in the realm, how it interacts with the realm that he created. But I have a feeling he's going to struggle to understand you. He knows nothing of the Fey realm. When he last fought you, you were much more mortal than you are now. You have since pressed further into my power, become a lot more like me.
True.
And I can see the rest of you have changed. I have seen your journey through my knight's eyes, your new resplendent form, Miss Tezcatlipoca. I'm wondering how much that will help. You're still very much a physical creature, and yet the dragons themselves are as old as time itself. When
Dragon's a creature of magic, if nothing else.
my point exactly. You may also be somewhat of a moving target. One part of your blood is infernal, although I think he may have had a hand in that. The other half of it, draconic. With the draconic part of your bloodline, I should imagine that you may not be the easiest for him to lock onto. Then, of course, we have you, Mr. Barebones.
I didn't do it.
Oh, you did. But you again come from the plane of elemental water. I'm not sure whether he would find that confusing or not. Elementals. I mean, the Titans themselves, they were prime elementals, I guess. So I think he'd probably still be able to lock onto you. And then, unfortunately, my Tabaxi friend, you also would be in his line of fire. We need to start to find some protections for each of you. Otherwise, this architect will be able to just lock onto your matter and obliterate you in the blink of an eye.
I had an idea about that.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. And you'll hate it. Like, you'll hate it.
We've had a few of those ideas.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So, how would you feel if your physical form skipped like a nanosecond backwards and forwards in time, almost constantly, oscillating between a point where you were and where you was?
Making it harder for him to lock on
now.
as you are
Meaning that she would be
simultaneously there and
semi-present
not.
in any one space at any one time. He can only partially feel her.
I mean, we're all familiar of Schrödinger, the tabaxi. It has been something that I've been ruminating on for a few hours. I
Not
would
to
show
mention
you
the whole fiasco that was the missing eclipse and the box.
exactly, which reminded me of that great bardic tale. And again, I'd show you the drawings, but you can't actually read them. So trust me, I'm pretty sure my arcane mechanics is pretty spot on.
I'll help you out with it. Don't worry.
Oh,
The
that I was relying on, but and I turn and look at the king. I don't have the kind of materials to make that sort of thing.
I'm sure that we can hook you up, I believe, as the mortals say.
Exactly.
The one thing that I would be careful of is what effect it would have on Eclipse's mind. You will be turning her into a temporal probability event.
Which is dangerous, but she's smart.
She knows a lot about minds because she frequently pokes around
Pulls
in
her
them.
way inside of them, as I've learned.
I mean, regardless of what you do to the body, the mind, the soul just needs to be anchored in place. I would say
I
can fix. I can fix that bit. It's the bit with her. I mean, the idea is that if we do this, you would only use it when everything kicks off and you get it. You'd have a very small window in which to operate within, because then I'd be worried that the damage to you eclipse, potentially you, Aiden, unless we can figure something out, unless you're okay, is that the damage would be permanent.
Aiden is probably less humanoid than you two are at this point.
Sorry, what? I was dissociating.
I said that you're probably less at risk of being preyed upon than Eclipse when it comes to the whole idea of being physical.
I mean, yes and no, because I can only
'Cause-
really become ghost like for like 5. I don't know,
But
like
your
5 minutes at a time.
your training and how you became what you are did mutate you from the normal
Indeed.
human.
That is true, I guess.
In your
And it
current
is something-
form, Commander, I would say that you are probably very vulnerable to him, as even if you are semi-mortal, you are still made of matter. It's only in your more ghostly form that I think you would probably be difficult. You say you can only do it for a short period of time?
Yeah, I can
say
do it
to
only
you-
for like a few moments every day, and then I have to have a lie down.
In that case, I have to say, to be blunt, and we are blunt here, adapt.
Yeah,
Fun.
again, I'm working on it. You know, I mean, I thought vibrating a
Well-
taxi through time was like, is that not impressive enough for you?
Oh,
I
Well,
am
there is-
sure with enough arcana
was-
and time shenanigans, we can make sure to stretch the amount of time that Aiden has to do that every day to a more infinite amount.
Well,
mean-
I was thinking that maybe the Heart of Jordan would help.
Well, yes, I completely think you
Works
you know
it in
what?
there.
And I
Works
put
it
my
in
arm
there.
around her, and I put my arm around the clips, and I give her like a shoulder squeeze, and I'm like, that was a good time to call up the Heart of Jordan. And it was perfectly acceptable for you to mention it there. Well done. We are growing.
the Summer King goes, still on that quest, are we? Good.
Yes, I have a suggestion I've been mulling over for a bit now. We already know the architect will most likely reappear in the same place in Ostergold. And since we will be, quite frankly, running about a bit on Eclipse's quest to find a heart before all of this goes down, I have started to work a bit of my magic into a spell. Basically, it is a modification of the teleportation spell mixed with the normal rune of teleportation, but with the alarm spell baked in order to basically alert and transport us back in the case of that rift opening again, since we now can lock onto his signature there.
He can wait.
You certainly have a plan brewing. I will, of course, help in any way I can. I have no doubt that his entrance next time is going to end up with the same volley of his
Creations.
vermin-like creations. Last time, it required the individuality of the Fae of the Freetowners to be able to defeat them. This time, we're going to need to be a little more outlandish, and that's where the Feywild is able to provide. If I'm able to get some of my fellow rulers within the Feywild to agree with me, I should be able to provide a cacophony of Fey wonder that will be tying up these demons in knots. Something that I think he won't be able to deal with. Add that to the fact that we, for a short period of time, will be able to step in and out of our realm at will. Foxing them even further, I intend to allow chaos to reign in the mind of this hive mind and the architect itself, which should allow us to take a strike force straight into the heart itself. And indeed, to the architect to destroy him. He means to step through into this world now. I don't think anything is going to stop it. The very least we can do is just make sure that when it happens on our terms.
Indeed.
I can see that your Ms. Green is doing something towards that. She doesn't seem that active, but I have a feeling she's twisting fate. She's making it so that the architect will turn up when you're ready. Delaying the inevitable, twisting the threads of reality around so that it coincides to when you are ready to face him. She is an interesting creature, not like any mortal I've seen before. And yet there's something eerily familiar about her. But yes, by the looks of it, you have what you need. And if your teleportation spell is to be believed, I believe you'll be able to get the people of Ostergald out the way in time. If not, well, it'll just be a case of holding them back and putting ourselves as a wall between his forces and the innocents around. I wonder what that Duke of yours has got ready as well. He's always been one for a fight. I'm sure he's brought up some form of militia that he's training against this
Thing is, though, I don't think an army will do it. I think
an army will keep the heat off those of you who need to go in and destroy him. And I think it's you, yourselves.
They will keep the city at least moderately safe while the rest of us deal with the real threat.
They'll keep him distracted too. Or his minions, at least.
Yes.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. Very well. I am glad that you are preparing and innovating.
We're
When the
trying
time
our
comes,
best.
I shall be there. And Enola pipes up and says, and so will I. He kind of looks at her as if to say, do you think that's appropriate? And she gestures, and a war wand appears in her hand. She lays it down on the table. And Lavinia gives her a nod, as a nod of acknowledgement, saying, yes, this is the way of it.
I thought we agreed no weapons at the table.
I'm a princess. I get to do what I want.
I'm using that line.
She has a point.
You can't use that line, you're not a princess. You act like a princess sometimes. You act like you are a princess sometimes, but you're not
And you're the
actually
one that keeps
technically a
telling me
princess.
to visualize what I want to be, and maybe I want to be a princess.
Well, visualize it. Don't rub it in our faces. There's a difference. There's a difference.
I am
You're just
sure
grumpy
we
'cause
can
you were getting
overthrow the entirety of the elemental plane of water at some point in order to make you its rightful princess.
Yeah.
But first, let's deal with the architect.
You can cry on him a bit. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Well,
Enola looks Farewell dead in the eye, and she says, you do know you have to dress for the role that you want to have, right?
Mm. I minor illusion a little tiara on his head.
Much better.
I feel very pretty, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm sure that Cora's little sister is giggling.
Yeah,
this.
I mean, throughout all this, there's been a certain amount of rapture and fear. Bree doesn't like any of the idea that the demons are coming back. Hates the idea.
Oh yeah.
Milo is kind of stealing his jaw with like, yeah, we're gonna beat them, yeah, kind of thing. Trim is thinking of moving. She's just thinking, Ostergeld it's not that great.
I mean, she's got a kid on the way. She would definitely be like,
Yeah, she's like, I've heard good things about Meridia.
I don't need to live in the city anymore.
Yeah.
I'm having a child. I go to the suburbs. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, the Kelsolans aren't that cold. I hear Scowra can even be fair if you go to the right places. So yeah, it's like thinking anywhere but Ostergeld right now. Lavinia looks at Alton. So your mum looks at your dad, and kind of just reminding herself that, her husband is already dead, and, if she goes down fighting, all that happens is that she goes to him. And she just, without saying a word, I mean, uncharacteristically quiet for your mother, she just gives a slow nod and, carries on drinking some of the tea.
I definitely give her a look when he mentioned about joining forces with the other rulers. I mean, Cora definitely glanced over her mom, not necessarily like obviously, but she does want to kind of talk to at least Enola, I think, and voice the stuff that they learned. And maybe when he said that there's a moment of maybe he would be open to this not being a big problem, but actually maybe helpful right now. But yeah, she won't voice it there and then with everyone there. So
yeah, I've just seen the chat. Yes, Corinne. Basically, I'm saying that the bloody ending will happen when I say it happens.
Yeah.
But thank God I've got a Deus Ex Machina in Renata Green, right?
I mean, he will get in at the dramatically appropriate moment.
When Renata Green manipulates it, so yeah.
Yeah.
So there seems to be a general consensus of, we're going in the right direction. We just need to make sure we keep going there. And there is throughout the time here, you do feel like time's pressing on, and it's actually Alton that brings it up. And the Summer King says, time looks differently here. If anything, you've extended your stay by coming here.
Oh, and not just that, I'm pretty sure I can wrangle you another couple of hours. No one will miss those.
As the time goes on, you can see that there's a couple of to-dos that get thrown onto your list. Cora, you get a very heavy sensation. The Summer King would like to speak to you at some point alone. And for example, that the food and drink here, if the Summer King wills it, that teapot will never empty. You keep drinking and drinking wine from the same bottle. It just carries on happening. It's all very timey-wimey when it comes to things like that. And yet, at a certain point, they've moved from tea to wine, and the Summer King very flamboyantly gestures, "Empty already. Sakura, come with me. I want you to pick the vintage." As he goes to stand, he goes, no, sit down. I told you, we're family. And Enola looks at him as if to say, what the fuck are you up to? And he just gives her this, cheeky dad smile, raises his eyebrows, and walks off. During this time, as you're all talking and things like that, Enola does keep, of course, Cora knows nothing about this. Enola does keep as the perfect hostess, and she does gesture, and a bard, not the previous one, but a bard does come over and starts with some lovely music, and there are some other fae that come forward, little fae, kind of like little miniature like fae. I would say they're kind of like gnomes, kind of like summer gnomes, who start to tumble and cavort and start to clown around. And it's generally high spirits, and Enola turns to Alton and says, "Can I take a moment of your time? There's something I'm curious about, but I'm kind of, I don't know. I want to know if this is. I've never met anyone like you who's come back, and I'm kind of almost immortal. I just have some questions. Do you mind?" And he goes, "Oh, but no." And he's dabbing the corner of his mouth. There seems to be cake coming in from various angles with different, I say servants. You notice that the servants around here are still courtiers. They are like cupbearers. Cupbearers in Tudor times were often lords in their own right. It was an honor and a pleasure to be part of these things. And the ones that are coming forward don't seem to be servants. They seem to enjoy bringing this lavish, fare. He'll say, "Yeah, of course." And Enola says, "I'll bring him right back, Lavinia. I promise." And Lavinia is kind of, kind of thing. And she just goes and does a single circuit of this ornamental lake with him. By the time they come back, Alton seems to be quite chipper and says, no, I don't think you've got anything to worry about, lass. I mean, no, I think, no, I let's just say that, you know, well, look at this collection of friends here. You know, chalk and cheese. You've got a dragon and a cat and a bowl of water and, you know.
Better than a bathtub. Toilet.
and yeah. Now, you can be worlds apart and still have the strongest of bonds. Don't worry about it.
Not a bowl of water.
He goes, no, you're a tall drink of water. That's it, isn't it? If you're a bowl, you'd be lying
Look,
down.
Flattery will not get you out of the problem that you were already in.
You can see the kids are there kind of like trying to come up with their own water-based snarky comments of their own. And it becomes very much kind of, you know, digging the ribs, kind of joshing of each other. And it's a very different setting, being in these beautiful gardens. But it's like being back in the taverns of Freetown again. Elsewhere, Cora, the Summer King, says, I wasn't lying. We are going to go and get a vintage. I'm not allowed to lie. However, I chose for this to empty. But all I did was declare that it was empty. Not a lie. He throws it over his shoulder and it smashes against the wall. You have a feeling if you turn away and turn back, it won't be there anymore. I do like the sound that makes. Anyway, let's go. He starts running with a kind of childlike enthusiasm and opens a door and starts running down into a cellar. The cellar is stifling hot. You would have thought they would be cooler down here, but it is still stifling hot. He goes, no, not that one, and starts zipping back and forward, and eventually comes back with a bunch of bottles, sets them down in front of you. You're like, I know nothing about wine. And he starts describing some of them, and he goes, anyway, I did have, I felt that tact, as my daughter keeps calling it, was needed here. Is your mother quite well?
Huh.
Oh yeah, that.
You're not here.
I wondered if you might notice. She's.
Is she a warlock?
I don't know if this is a bad thing, and I probably should have told you straight away. We only really kind of started putting the pieces together, though, recently and really today. I think she's kind of like me, a little bit, but obviously not for you.
I think
She
it's more
doesn't seem
complicated.
to be
than
aware
that.
of it.
So,
Eclipse, you're still not there.
yeah.
Oh.
So, I haven't really trained you on fairy magic, have I?
Not really. It's just kind of feels like it comes naturally a little sometimes.
It does. That's why I don't really need to teach anyone. You kind of feel it and then do it. It's good. I don't want to be like the stuffy wizards teaching people, you know, how to wave a piece of wood and all the rest of it.
I know, all that writing in books. It's so boring.
It's isn't it?
I will have my vengeance.
Sorry, I felt a drip of water come from somewhere. It's weird. Anyway.
He gestures and says, yes, come on. And Eowyn becomes visible again and just sits there listening. No, once you connect with us, a little bit of the fantastic, it gets into your life. mostly into your person. You become more like us. But you get pulled into the tail. Everything that you see here is the tail. It's what will seep into the minds of bards in centuries, if not millennia to come, assuming that we don't all die to this architect fellow. The machination, the manipulation of destiny by the tail spills out through you into everyone you interact with. And thankfully, those that you associate with the most have very strong destinies and gain in power in their own different ways. So I doubt that it would affect them. But I should have thought about those you left behind. Your mother, of course, a very strong but very emotional lady. The children, they are kind of wrapped up in their own shield. Children have a certain amount of emotion and wonder that they carry with them. Children, in a way, are able to wield Fey magic better than even the Fey themselves sometimes. But for you, I think for your mother, that she may have indeed picked up some of the Feywild for herself. I doubt it's going to be a problem. A little bit of a shoemaker's elf situation. But I would say just keep an eye on her. If the symptoms get a little extra, we may have to have her visit again. We'll see what we can do to allow her a little more control.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't. She seemed to think that certain things were a gift from me. But clearly they were from the Winter Realm.
The Queen does get drawn to people who have experienced what dear Lavinia's experienced.
I mean, even I seem to be able to pull on that side a little.
We're both sides of the same coin, she and I. Do you know that we're exactly the same age?
Exactly?
Exactly. We were created at exactly the same point. You see, where rage was born, so was sorrow and regret. Where passion was born, so was the ability to lose, to fear. We are related. The Queen, in some ways, and he shudders at the thought, is my sister. And yet, if you've heard the stories, was also my lover.
Kind of.
No biological relation, you understand. I know the mortals get a little priggish about this kind of thing.
I understand.
Yes. We were simply created at the same time by the same gods, which technically means the same parents. I try not to think it too much. It's
yeah. Well,
the point is that when we realized exactly what it is to be us, that's what separated us. She has her realm and I mine. The few times where we've had occasion to talk, it has been at the barrier between our worlds. Now, if your mother is picking up some of her power, I would not worry. She's hardly going to become a champion of the wastes. You yourself, as you say, are able to flip the coin from time to time and use her powers. Be careful. Excessive use of it, or in some cases, occasional use of it, can mean that my dear ex-lover, let's go with, can whisper into your mind, especially the more sensitive you are to Fey magic, and you now, of course, of being part of us. She will be able to speak to you in the same way that she will occasionally taunt the rest of the members of my kingdom.
yeah. I figure it might be handy in what we have to come, because again, it's another thing that he may not expect if he starts to try and figure me out. That's another curveball, as it were. But I understand. You are my patron. You help me. I should not. You have given me many gifts. I do not need others.
I gave you nothing other than my patronage. You took what you needed, and you'll continue to do so. As you become more daring, more forward, and start to maybe take on a few more of the virtues of my people, you will find yourself drinking deeper of the well of power that I have the honor of protecting. And as you do so, your potential shall rise beyond your wildest reckoning. Don't worry, as I say, about Lavinia. We all have our different roles to play in the tale. For you, it is a champion, a knight. I would also fancy yours somewhat of what I would expect to be an epic love story, if you don't mind. I would want nothing less for my daughter. But Lavinia reminds me more of the many artisans that we have throughout the realm. Those who would make an item of wonder that then the item would probably be the object of the tale rather than the artisan itself. There have been one or two artisans that have been committed to bardic history, but usually it's the item. The sword of this, the shoes of that. And as you say, she may well help you in the time to come, maybe all of you. Maybe our dear Lavinia will be able to give you some sort of suitable raiment for the final battle.
Maybe. She has got a lot of skills, magical or
Indeed.
not.
She's a many-faceted woman, and I don't mean that as an insult, as it would be for many people around here. We don't like facets, we like up front. I'm just saying that she has a delightful complexity and, well, multiple potential. So, as long as that's all that's the case, it should be fine. And I do mean it about your nature being the greatest edge that you're going to have against this architect fellow. But there is something more serious to talk about.
More serious than the architect?
In a way. Life, death is all really rather simple. Just ask your best friend. But you're coming up against a different precipice. The more of my power that you draw, the more you draw into the Feywild. Very soon you'll be waking up here and going to sleep there. Soon, very much so. The flow of time here will make more sense than the fleeting moments in Mundus. You have to decide, I'm afraid, whether or not you're going to allow yourself to take eternity here with my daughter, or to one day go and join your family in the hereafter. I'm afraid it's not an either or. However, I suppose you could choose to spend as much time as you want here and eventually arrange a suitable demise. But maybe it's worth talking to Farewell. I'm not entirely sure what happens to the soul of Fae. We don't really look at an afterlife. In fact, many of us can come back thousands of years later after we've been defeated. As long as the tale permits, of course. You need to plan for the architect right now. But when you have spare time, give a thought to the beyond. He picks up an amber wine, throws it at you to catch, and you have a feeling this is like a priceless bottle of wine. And he says, let's get back. I want to talk to the others.
Right.
When you get back, Alton and Enola have sat back down. It looks like with exchanged. Everybody's talking, laughing, and the Summer King says, "So, to the future," pouring out wine to everybody else. "You have the heart of Juradan to go after, do you not?"
Yeah.
Indeed.
And on
Yes.
that point, you're the lord of this realm, right?
I believe so. I have a crown around here somewhere. It starts to interfere with the hair, don't you know?
Nah. I understand.
He's still wearing the tiara, or if he isn't
Yeah.
for some reason,
Oh, no,
I pop it back in minor
I'm
illusion.
just like, I get you.
I mean, Gloria also wears a diadem all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
And
like,
so,
Well, like most of you have
understand-
circlets of some kind, don't you? Like
Well,
there's
I actually-
intelligence
Farewell
one,
actually
and
has a circlet on.
I have a
Farewell
circle
does
thing.
work.
Like, yeah, it's all going.
Yeah, we're all wearing like circlets, but
Yeah.
like
Aiden's the only one who refuses to bow to the
I
peer
don't-
pressure. Yeah.
I don't think I've got one. I've got because I've got my
No.
earring, but I don't think
Yeah.
I've got a circlet of any kind. I'm minor illusion myself.
the
one.
only cool thing you got from Scholar was an earring.
Yeah,
The rest of us got circlets
It-
or diadems.
went for an earring of seeing in the dark.
Yeah.
Because cool.
You
I
can't do
believe
that.
you
anyway.
needed to finish a thought, Farewell.
Oh yeah, yeah. This happens a lot. So when we leave, where will we appear?
When you leave my realm.
Yes.
Yeah, but
where
where?
Where will we appear in our realm?
Typically, the tale puts you back from where you entered, with about several thousand exceptions, going back and being at the foot of the grave of your loved one, or at the doorstep of your loved one, or being delivered at the point of where your mortal enemy is about to fall, or as I say, several thousand exemptions. But the cut of it is I can place you wherever I want, more or less.
And I just pointed at Eclipse. Come on, you following, right?
Yes. Yes.
You following.
Yes. To place us as close to our next location as possible.
Show him the map. Come on, I know you've been working hard on that. Show him the map.
Here.
He takes a look and brings his finger down and goes, "Wrath. Now that's a place I can send you."
Okay. We have something that is dangerously beginning to look like a plan. We have
Yes.
plans.
I can definitely send you here. After all, it was Sakura who actually saw Wrath for the first time.
Yes. And I'm
We'll-
surprised he's still kicking.
We'll figure that out.
Quite
when we get
literally
there.
still kicking. I mean, he
Yeah.
is just.
I mean,
Considering
he wouldn't
he's-
be the first undead we've run into.
Yes, but
Potentially possessed or
doesn't- he's
whatever
not-
else.
he's hasn't been described as undead, and we haven't really gotten the undead vibe from him. He's more. I'm still surprised that he's been kicking for many.
I mean, he's
millennia.
called Wrath. I mean, he could just be living out of spite.
No,
I
mean,
mean,
it's
that's a
hard.
big motivator.
this is someone who has fueled his emotional state for many hundreds of years. He has a performance enhancer that he uses.
Like for bed.
No, he never sleeps. No,
Oh no.
he drinks the
Poor
blood. of-
man.
He drinks the blood by feeding on fiends. He is able to keep his emotional state as raw as the day that he first felt the wrath. And yet, I don't think it's the wrath you expect. This is a man of passion. This is a man who is indeed wrathful. But when he cries for Karnatava, I don't think he means her ill.
Do you want to? No.
No, Eclipse, I don't think he wants to fuck her.
No. No.
Oh no, I'd know. I'd know.
I
Believe me,
would know.
I would know. I would say that once he is sated, his altered form will run out of purpose. This is a creature who's lived persistently for many hundreds of years, a few thousand years, if my reckoning's correct. And once his one living purpose is gone, he's just going to be a very old body fueled by energies that he's not tainted by. That's the most interesting part. I don't see any fiendish taint on this man. He's consuming the energy. Like
That's
the
interesting.
predators of that you are evolved from. They are his prey. And as doing so, he is holding himself an apex predator above them. But the predator cannot live forever.
Well,
Once he no longer has that purpose, I don't think he'll be long for this world.
Right. So,
In other words, you need to get your information out of him as quickly as possible in case he runs out of steam.
and don't shock him.
And probably no calming of emotions either.
No.
I would say that spell is probably his antithesis.
Yes, I don't even know that spell, so that wouldn't be
Cora does.
Cora does.
And Farewell can get it too.
Yeah.
So don't use that one. We are allowed to have an angry chicken, but we can't have a calm chicken.
Chickens?
I can assure you, we might get an angry chicken. We've already passed the whole ancient tabaxi
Angry mummy.
assassin
Yeah.
becoming a angry duck. So
Yeah, I forgot we put her in a wooden box, didn't we?
We
yes.
did. And then when she retransformed, she was just crammed into this box.
You're currently playing halfling tennis because as you're there saying this, all the halflings are trying to keep up with the conversation going.
And then there was the one that, then there was the giant squid.
Yeah.
It was in the same place. Was the
Aboleth.
Yeah. Then there was the big.
Oh, now you're just reciting your greatest hits.
I mean, I thought this was a place where like pride was kind of.
Yeah, wasn't bragging encouraged here?
Yeah.
We don't like to call it bragging. We like to call it representation.
Okay.
But it's bragging.
He raises his
Represent,
eyebrows at Cora
bitch.
as if to say it's absolutely bragging. So
But yes, there's been a few.
And in other things where we had the Kraken and stuff.
yes, I'm aware of your conquests. I had front row seats for most of it. So,
I'm sure that was entertainment.
one last thing to my understanding of the Heart of Juradan. It itself is a tale, but more than a tale. Whereas we here live in a strange, cyclic event where the tale allows us to survive. We survive by spinning the tale. There's something very similar to it, and that's belief. And yes, I mean divine belief. People believe still in Juradan. The bards still sing of his tales, knowing full well that he existed. Scholars try to find the path that you tread so easily, Eclipse.
You just
And
from point
Yes.
A
back
to
home
B.
in Naruka, his tales, his history is held in great respect. It's harder to kill the idea of Jordan than it is to kill the man.
I mean, yes, the man would have been dead for millennia now. But yes.
And yet,
He's not.
no ruler, no hero, no paragon of virtue has yet managed to beat that of Jordan the Great. Not because he had the greatest of achievements, but he had the greatest of intentions. A little romanticism, I'm sure.
Oh, everyone loves a romantic story.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
his ideal
And
was-
it's made all the more romantic just by the tragedy.
indeed. And I don't feel that people know the full extent of the story. A story that
No,
was even
most
revealed to me
people-
by you.
Yeah, no, most people don't know the whole thing about Kainitava. They thought Kainitava was the one corrupting him or something, not the fact that he gave her a soul. That
Mm.
is
He
Well, I
was
suppose that you need to have your sister write down a proper ballad for it after we're done.
yes, young
Eclipse
Smoke.
the novelist. I mean, that's one I never thought I'd hear, but I think it would suit you.
yes. No, but yes,
Another obsession, perhaps.
I mean,
She's gonna need one.
well, as you know, with Tabaxis, we have our thing that we go after, and then when we find a thing, we're happy, and then we go on to the next thing.
You have a speed and a direction, not necessarily an intention.
Hmm.
Yes. What I'm getting at is the belief in Jordan, knowing that he was at one point a champion of the gods. So much so that hell itself had to rise up to stop him from achieving what would have been his crowning glory. Maybe that divinity can help you as well.
I mean,
After all, this architect is a mote of divinity.
well, that's what
Yes.
we're looking for. Jordan is another mode of divinity.
Perhaps.
In
I
our
think
in our
that
best
we-
guess. Because
I
how
think that
else
you
would he
have a
have given
good
a soul
chance.
to a demon? Devil, I mean.
Indeed. He broke the rules. And I do love rule breakers. I think that's what you all need to be inspired by.
Oh yeah,
Not to-
and
Oh,
I
of
think-
course. All rules are meant to be broken as long as no one
I
finds
think
out.
I have. We spoke to an angel about possibly getting to speak to the Allfather. That was
Oh, yeah.
because he would have the most knowledge about Jordan because they were very much linked.
And probably the architect.
I have a feeling you'll speak to Jordan himself before you speak to the Allfather. But having
I
the
mean,
old man
Farewell
on side,
has managed to talk to the Raven Queen.
I
Yes,
know,
but
I've
none of us
seen.
are like explicitly devoted to Pelor, which make it slightly
No.
more difficult.
The
I have
Pelor
a
guards
feeling with
still
the
look at me
magnitude of
with
world
contempt.
events.
I've lived in the city for years.
Yes, but you know.
I have a
I
feeling
guess-
with the magnitude of world events, even the old man himself will want to look in. So, you have a good idea of what can happen, but I think at the moment you are still shackled by your own expectations. You need to, as I said to you, Commander, adapt. In combination, some of you are more powerful than you give yourselves credit for, but also individually, I would ask you to step beyond your bounds. not a problem for you, Miss Tezcacotl. As you say, you were born into rules are made to be broken. But the rest of you need to look less at what you are and more towards what you could be, and have that as a very definite image in your mind.
Hey, don't count us short. We are, if anything, annoyingly chaotic. And I guarantee that when it comes down to it, we'll find a way, especially Aiden. He doesn't like to admit that he's just as bad as the rest of us, but I can assure you he can create and manage and generate just as much chaos and uniqueness and out-of-the-boxness as the rest of us.
I'm
Even if he
sorry.
isn't
Due to the stress of the situation, I was not mentally here. What's going on?
Yes.
Don't worry.
He's bigging you up. That's all.
The Feywild doesn't agree with you, my friend. It is an acquired taste. But I assure you all, you have something that will be able to bring you to the foot of the architect and make him falter. And with that, we are going to leave the Feywild, we're going to leave the Summer Realm, and at the beginning of the next session, we are going to say our goodbyes to the Summer King, Enola, for now, and wrap up Alton as he gives his final advice
We're going to go
his
beat up
family.
somebody called Wrath and steal his shit.
And yeah, the Summer King is going to throw you straight at Wrath.
We're going to be like, hey, bitch, where's your lunch
Hey!
money? Give me your lunch money.
Yeah,
No.
you'll
That's
do
not what's gonna happen. Eclipse is gonna fall out of a portal, jump at him, and while grabbing his neck, she's gonna be, "Have you heard of the Heart of Jordan?"
No, she'll just be like, tell me about the fucking heart.
He's
Tell me
like,
about
yes,
the
I've been
fucking
fighting
heart."
fucking fiends for the last several centuries because of the Heart of fucking Jordan. Yes, I've heard of it.
It's like, and then I'll just grab him
Like,
by
here,
his
I'm here to
ankles
save
and
you from
shake.
your life goal. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, I walked the path. Tell me about what you know about Jordan. Go.
Go. Tell me about the fucking heart, you motherfucker. Tell me.
Who did it?
Wrath's been going for like centuries, well, however long, but the final blow will be a kitty going. Meow!
Yeah.
Imagine that. I am a 5 millennial.
I am Wrath.
Devil and demon killing machine.
Yeah.
I am known amongst the land as Wrath.
Yeah, it's like,
So
I'm a
how
level
did
20
you
character,
die?
motherfucker. What have you got on me? I know the answer. Oh, really?
Meow.
How did you die? Well, this group of assholes
Yeah.
with this one particularly annoying snow leopard cat came along and just annoyed me to death.
Yeah.
Like,
weirdly, this is
yeah.
not going to be 100% away from the truth. So yeah, it's going to be a case of, hey, dude, you've been fighting for centuries. We're on the path already. If you're ready to die now, you can do so. And it's like, thanks.
Thanks.
Peace.
I need your Kenobi door.
Yeah.
Give me.
Can we have your shit?
Yeah, give me the quest item
I'm
and
just
fuck off.
asking now. Yeah.
I'm here. Like, I'm just pressing the question mark.
Yes.
Stop
Yes,
clicking
I
past
will.
my. Stop clicking past my. Stop clicking past.
Skip.
Yeah.
Skip.
It's the bit when you're
Skipping
talking
all
to
the
an
dialogue.
NPC and you get to the point where it is just the repeating dialogue, but you just still keep hammering the button just to see if there's anything more, and it's just going, "Greetings, citizen. Greetings, citizen. Greetings, citizen. Greetings, citizen."
Fuck.
Yeah, Hermit, if their final answer to the architect is just to keep annoying him until he goes, oh, fuck it, I'm going back home, that would be very much in flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
It
stupid if
would-
it works.
It wouldn't be out of our wheelhouse. You do remember our last encounter with him, right? We
Yeah.
basically stalled him by annoying and confusing the shit out of him.
Yes, that happened. Anyway, I am very tired. Had a long week.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are. So we are going to do a very quick raid. So we'll go to our see you later screen. We will do a very quick raid, and just off the top of my head, I'm going to go for Mario Nerd. He's a lovely guy, and yeah, we will see you later. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.